projects,
I'm sure, yeah, because it's really people here.
these projects have been approved already. They said for approval. They've been approved months ago.
But it just might have been a typo.
So who put it on the agenda?
I just said just update on it,
Okay.
update, not approval.
It's not a drainage project, so I don't know.
Do we have them all
Not a
lined
drainage
up?
project?
No, they would mostly go under, like the engineering.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just tell you, that you'll get it.
You're welcome.
So one day.
There's a miscellaneous sweep out falls in Ward 4. I don't know if that's part of it.
That's, half of that one is for Georgia, that's what that,
Okay.
that was for Georgia.
Okay.
Okay, so are you ready?
Trying to pull it up. It's not pulling up on the TV. Okay, I'll share with you.
It's not popping up.
It's a black screen, it's not sharing to the meeting.
You're only trying to share it.
I'm trying to share it.
You had a white box that popped up.
All right, never mind.
Try to switch it.
Just technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. Yeah. Trying to get a laptop. What I guess it would be a PowerPoint.
I think she didn't like it. Tell them.
He should just plug it into that box and share screen.
That's what I'm doing and nothing's popping up.
Share content or share screen.
Share content. With the desktop, right?
Yeah.
Black screen.
Say that again. No, I mean the laptop's plugged into the box on Katie's desk, and then they tried share screen,
Black.
but he said share content.
Share content.
See, that comes up. Where's that again?
Oh, that was different.
Desktop.
Well-
Meeting. But when I share it to the
It
meeting,
wouldn't be the desktop, it would be,
which one would it be? iPad, iPhone, or camera?
Justin, would it be share from desktop or share from the laptop?
Should be desktop.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the desktop, it should come from this.
You'll come back to that.
We can do it in
It's
regular
different.
meeting.
Yeah.
The, no, it's still there.
Try all of these.
You can do what, you press on your screen. On your screen,
Oh, that's what I'm trying in. That's
no,
what
on the screen here. The
No.
computer.
Oh.
No. Is the PowerPoint up on his screen, on the computer?
Okay. Is Justin coming?
You,
Yeah, I mean, he's right now.
Okay.
He might be able to come set up.
Okay, we're gonna take this up in a regular meeting.
what,
Maybe a little bit of competition.
Back on.
They said it was a 20-minute presentation, so that's fine. No trouble. Right here. The plugged in is something right here.
Looks like it's plugged in correctly. Is there another port on his computer?
It's to the bottom.
Let's make a motion, we're going to recess now.
You can do it without the,
Yes, it'd be better with PowerPoint, but I can do it without
You can
PowerPoint.
do it without, he's saying.
Oh, there you go.
You got it.
Here we
You
go.
fixed.
what you did.
Oh, you know,
I did, I tried,
Oh,
didn't I?
backwards.
Back,
Let's reverse them and
back.
Yes, backwards.
Put a
That's
mirror-
okay.
put a mirror.
Yes, mirror.
Mirror.
That box came up early. When you pressed
About
it, it had
mirroring?
mirror image on it.
If not, I do it without PowerPoint. I don't want to take more of your time. That's fine. Let me show mirror. That's fine. I do it without it.
he's, I mean, he's coming, he just like simply waiting. Somebody to watch his video first then.
It's up.
You got it, but he's got it
That
backwards.
was exactly.
I think it's gotta be in there. I don't think it's for display, it's in the mirror.
I think it's,
On the computer, you mean?
All right, okay.
I think it's the input.
Press what you pressed earlier, Katie, up there, because I saw something that said mirror image.
And even if it's like that, I still can do it. The pictures, you still can see the pictures, so that's
Yeah,
fine.
that's good. Or-
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I saw rearrange
turned around.
my slides for some reason. See, all my slides went crazy. They're not in order.
No.
Yeah.
Screen mirror. That's it.
Let me do it without it. That's fine. Let
Okay.
me do it without it.
Okay.
Can you hear me good?
Yes.
Okay. Well, greetings from the Chapalaya Basin. I heard rumor that you have some problems with flooding in the parish. So we have a master plan. And by the way, I work for the Chapalaya Basin Keeper. It's a nonprofit that works to protect the Chapalaya Basin for future generations. We have like 2,200 members, like close to 30,000 followers in Facebook. So we work very closely with commercial fishermen in the Chapala Basin and other users of the basin. So the CPRA right now is accepting proposed projects for the Chapalaya Basin Master Plan. So we have until the end of February to present something. After 4 years, if we don't present it before the end of February, then it will be another opportunity to present anything. And based on that, that's how they're gonna develop projects in the Chapala Basin in the future. So it's very important that we submit something by the beginning of February. So one thing I was going to show you with the presentations is the problem we have with flooding in the Parish and in Louisiana. As you know, I don't know if you know this, the Mississippi River used to flood 24 million acres of forest. We could have gone by boat to the Chapala Basin all the way to Missouri without leaving the fort. That floodplain, that flood capacity is gone. There's mainly farmland because of the levee systems that the Corps built is mainly farmland today. So what it means for Louisiana is the Corps cannot build those levees high enough, Mississippi levees high enough to protect us from flooding all the time. So to solve that problem, they build spillways. They build two. One, they're gonna create a spillway to protect New Orleans. And we have over 150 industrial plants between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. I don't know, you know this, the Port of South Louisiana, which is the entire lower part of the Mississippi River, is the largest in the country, the largest in the Western Hemisphere, one of the largest in the world. You got cities, Baton Rouge, your parish, my parish, I live in every parish. All that, you protect all of us from flooding. I'm sorry. So all that section of the river is protected by the Morganza spillway. So what they did, they made a spillway out of the Chapalaya Basin. The Mississippi River used to distribute itself through many different distributaries. They core dam every single one of them. The Chapalaya Basin, they made a spillway out of it. It had 3 dams, one is a power plant. Then the spillway, because they cannot pass that flood through those dams, they built a spillway below it, which is the Morganza spillway, that have 125 iron gates. And in case of an emergency, that's what they open. The levees were built 80 miles apart. That's very, very important to understand what we need to do for the basin. The reason they build the levees 18 miles apart on average is because they need the flood capacity to move that flood for 140, 145 miles to the Gulf of Mexico. If you build a levees along the Chapala River, the river don't have the capacity, it will overtop the levees. So maintaining flood capacity in the Chapala Basin is crucial to protect not only this parish, the entire South Central Louisiana. If the levees in the western part of the basin fail, and that's one of the things that have a film on that, it will reach all the way to Morgan's to Lafayette. You know, so what's happening in the basin is we filling out the basin. There's entities out there that wants to fill the basin. So every year we lose flood capacity. And so right now the Chapala Basin cannot handle the project flooding anymore. And it is terrifying when you know what's going on because we cannot safely survive in this South Central Louisiana. Anywhere in South Central Louisiana, if we lose the Morganza spillway, forever. And once you lose the flood capacity, you never can go back in time to get it again, So the fact that the basin is filling in, we are already feeling the effects, especially at Sunshine Parish and Evergreen Parish. Because what happens is everything goes through Amelia and part of it goes to the Chapalaya River. That's our drainage, The more you fill the basin, the higher the water will come with the same amount of water. So the floods are getting worse and worse in the Chapalaya Basin. And when that happens, the water backs up through Amelia into Lake Palur, Lake Barrett, and all that. So
It's good here.
that's what protects all of us from flooding is those basins, We have from Point Compi between the levee systems all the way down to us, everything drained to us. So when we have a major rain event in the summer, especially with a tropical system, we actually in the wrong side of the levees. The main drainage is in the Chapala Basin, but we are on the wrong side. The water cannot drain into the Chapala Basin. Another thing is happening, and you slow down the current, or you back up the water, all the clays coming from the cane fields. By the way, clays move very easily. Clays, you don't need a lot of current to move the clays. But when you stop that current, the clays is going to drop. So what's causing is a domino effect. You fill out the basin, you slow down the current, or stop the current altogether, or reverse the current. Then all those clays start falling in Lake Paluk, Lake Barrett, so on. So you're losing, it's a domino effect, you're losing the whole thing. Okay? So we come out with a plan, it's a draft plan, to be able to protect the flood capacity of the basin and flood protection for the parishes and restore the coast. So the plan and it's not fully developed. I'm coming here because I would love to go work with Roy and other people in the parish to fully implement, fully create that project. The first stage is to connect the levees to our side. So when you have 3 inches of rain and the water is low in the basin, it can drain into the basin. And there's 3 different features that we can use. One is gates, like locks, where you keep open during the summer and everything is connected. And then everything can naturally drain into the basin the way it used to be. Because when they build those levee systems, they cut every single waterway in 2. They not only have huge impact for our drainage system, but also have huge impact for the ecology of the rivers. They stop all crab migrations, shell migrations, huge impacts to the hydrology. So one of them will be to put, those gates somewhere, so we'll be connected during the summer, close them out during the spring. The other 2 will be siphons. I don't know, how siphons work. It's like a siphon, you siphon, water from your gas tank, It's cheap and it don't require anything. It cannot break down. You siphon it, when the siphon start working, it works on itself until the water equalizes. So it's a way to move water across the levee systems. Once you build the siphons, it's 0 cost. And the third one is pumps that you can be used when the water is high in the Chapala Basin. The siphon ain't gonna work. Those gates or the locks ain't gonna work neither. So that's one part. The second is to keep the sand. What's filling the basin mainly is sand, to keep it in the river. And one thing I was going to show you, by the way, those pictures you see over there, that's all swamps that are already filling with sand. That's Buffalo Cove right there. And we navigate, follow the picture, you're gonna navigate to the area where the they make cuts, look at the cuts, what they did, they filling up the wetlands. And as you get closer and closer to the cuts, you can see the elevation get higher and higher. The next picture you're gonna see is gonna be a crawfish trap buried into the mud. The next one is gonna be another crawfish trap, 4-foot trap, is barely sticking out of the mud. Look at the high elevation over there. There used to be deep swamps, it's completely filled. So my point here is the basin is designed to fill. And not only designed to fill, the state and the federal government are doing projects to fill those wetlands. Right now we're fighting the East Valley project. I don't know, you're probably aware with that, Those projects, they already did it. They did the Bayou Eugene, fill a bunch of wetlands. Then the fishermen on the west side, because that's on the west side, they went against the Buffalo Cove project. The pictures that you show you over there, that's the Buffalo Cove project. The Corps of Engineers say, okay, we're gonna try it, we're gonna put sediment traps, we're gonna maintain them, and if we get accretion greater than 1 inch, 200 yards from the cuts, we're gonna alter or modify the project. Well, the accretion, as you can see there, they can be measured in feet. It was so much accretion that when the water went down, all the stations that LSU put together to measure the accretion, most of them couldn't be reached because of the accretion. They didn't alter the project, they keep doing element after element, they fill a bunch of wetlands, and then they did after that the Bow Bayou project. The fishermen opposed it, basin keeper opposed it. They say, okay, we're gonna measure how much sediment is gonna go through that project. When the water went down, the mats they put on the ground to measure the sediment, they couldn't be reached. That's how much sand is moving there. Now they try to do the Israel project, which is gonna be it's 12 cuts of river water into the swamp. Again, all the fishermen, the parishes are against it. San Martin Parish, every parish passed resolutions against, I don't know if you saw them, resolutions against the project. And they try to do it. Right now we're in litigation with the Corps. We challenging the permit, trying to stop the permit. But my point is we need to keep that sand in the river. So one way to do that, as you know, the Chafalaya, I will show you the picture, but I'm gonna have to describe it. You got the Chafalaya River and you got the distributaries. So the water that goes to the swamps go through the distributaries, okay? And so is the sand. So what we're gonna do is right there when it comes from the river, we wanna put some kind of a structure to put the force of the water, like a rock weir, to push the force of the water back in the center of the river, but that's where the sun is going, and behind it, put big sediment traps. So you put the water from the sediment traps, every year you suction dredge it, put it back into the river. When you get to Morgan City, before you get to Morgan City, it used to be Grand Lake. What it used to be the bed of Grand Lake, we want to mine that sand. Because once you start mining that sand, that's gonna become a huge sediment trap, stopping the sand from moving into the port of Morgan City. 44 million dredging, that's dredging operation in the Chapalaya River to open the port of Morgan City. So we want to capture that. We want the pipe to go under the levee, and then you're going to transport that sand through a pipeline to Terrebonne, okay? Under the levee and go through Lake Palur. Because then you can use that pipe to actually, you want to manage Lake Palur and redredge Lake Palur and Lake Barrett, you can do that and use that pipeline to bring it to the Gulf. The pipeline will go all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, to almost to the Gulf of Mexico. And along the pipeline, it can be like this. You can divert the sediment to the side. So we're working with Terrebonne parties right now to be able to design that pipe where they want it. And the idea is to engage the community so the community will be able to design where the pumps will be for the levees, design where you want a gate to connect the levees, design where the pipeline they want it to go and where you want to move the sediment to. So in the past, we have the government design projects, and then they do public meetings, and then people oppose those projects, and they ignore the public, and they push the project through. This time, what we want to do is engage the parishes, let some members of the parish, members of the public, to help design all that, present it to the government, so it's going to go from the bottom up to avoid the politics to kick in and start doing things that's going to hurt everybody. So that's what I'm proposing to you guys. We have only until the end of February. We don't have a lot of time. And the way CPRA is making us do it, I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's extremely hard. In the past, we could put that on paper, submit it. We can't do that any longer. You had to go through a website, and you had to put it all on the website, and then you cannot save it. So when you start, you cannot stop. because your computer crashes, you lose everything. And there's a point where you have a GIS map, you have to put the dimensions and everything on the GIS map. So say, for example, we're gonna do 12 connections from the east side of the levee and 12 from the west. That's 24. That means we have to make 24 submissions. We cannot put them all in one. Have to do one for one cut, another one for a cut, that's 24 submissions. You're gonna do another 24, sediment traps along the Chapala River, that's another 24. That's almost 50 submissions. And then you're gonna do the pipeline, you may have to do it in segments. So it's gonna be like maybe 60 submissions or more on a GIS in a place that you cannot save in the computer. So it's gonna be a lot of time consuming. So we need at least a month to agree where things need to be before we can actually start submitting it, because it's gonna take us a month to put all the data in the computer. So I don't know, you have any questions?
No, so I guess, are you familiar, or did you see our drainage master plan?
I didn't see you must.
So our master plan refers to pumping stations to get rainwater out of the Lake Verret Basin into the Chafalaya
Mhm.
Basin. So that's already documented and in place and approved, to support your efforts.
Okay,
Now, I don't know about the submission to the Chafalaya Basin, but I guess the good thing is we do have a voice for the steering committee for the Chafalaya Basin. So anything that the parish wants to bring there, I can bring that to CPRA, on behalf of the parish. So, I'd be happy to meet with you, after Thanksgiving here before Christmas and see if we can, just get some more information exchanged and make sure that we can align our goals so that we can fully support your plan.
yeah, that's the idea. Now I want to fully support your plan too, and maybe put our heads together and submit something together. That's the idea, because this is very complex, more than your parish.
Sure.
If we can submit something and put the name of all the parishes behind it, I think that will be more powerful than just having each parish to submit their own. And sometimes you submit your own and these different solutions that then they have to choose one, you know what I mean? We can, because I don't care where things connect things. I really don't. I mean, it need to happen. So we can all talk with one voice. I think will be more powerful than one, entity at a
So
time.
you'll be moving the sand to the Gulf as a protection
Yes.
levy?
Yeah, and I mean, we got sun in there is unbelievable.
Oh, definitely, I know that.
Yeah,
You can put them on the road and sell it.
yeah.
But,
I mean, we can save, like Dulac is going out there, that makes no sense. And pipeline, transport by pipeline, it may cost to build it, but once you build it, it's there forever. You may have to fix it, but you put solar panels to do the pumps.
to get that sand to the Gulf, that's gonna be the biggest thing, to get that
Yeah,
sand to the
That's
Gulf.
what he did in Morgan City though.
Oh.
He blew it. He built an area big enough for 100 FEMA field.
Oh.
And that was done in 20 days,
Mhm.
constant dredging with the pipe.
Yeah,
Yeah, he does.
That's how you can get it out. Now, we stopped up. I don't know if you heard about this. Canal's been full of trees for years.
Mhm.
In this last storm, we had more trees in it.
Yeah.
Well, the water can't get to the lake,
Mhm.
And then you gotta get to the lake to get further. And just like 4 Mile Bay, that was 80 foot deep when I was young.
Yeah,
Now it's about 8 foot.
I know,
You gotta clean them out.
yes.
Can y'all clean these trees out of this canal that we have? We've been begging people to help.
Oh, we don't do that. We do, we propose projects. And our main work is also to enforcement, because one of the problems is like these entities that wants to fill the basin, they push for projects like that. They put pipelines to the basin, nobody enforce the permits. They put the dam, waterways is loose and leave the sport bikes in there and all that. So we do the enforcement. Because the court don't do it.
So one thing I'd like to ask you about to see if this is something that your organization could help us with. So whenever we're seeking a permit, we have to go to a mitigation bank because we're disturbing wetlands. My opinion is that those requirements are really intended for areas that have a finite amount of wetlands. And if you destroy it, it changes the ecosystem in that area, right? But whenever you have an area that's 80% wetland and you have a very small impact on it, I don't see why we're being required to mitigate a small area where we're really not changing the ecosystem whatsoever. You know, just because it goes by acre and it's this much per acre, regardless if you're in North Mississippi or South Louisiana. You know, has there been any challenge or you've been part of
Well,
any challenge?
yeah,
with that?
we see that, and that's a huge problem, and, I think it's with intent. I give you an example, they got people, they're gonna put a deck, they don't affect anything, and they got to go through all kind of trouble. We used to have a hunting club, they have political connections, damn Pat's Throat, you know what Pat's Throat is?
No, no.
Pat's Throat, you know, you have I-10, and then Rama and the Chafalaya, the Whiskey Bay.
Yeah.
Okay. All the swamp all the way to Grand River, there's a little bayou, it's the only bayou left where people can access the swamp, and we're talking about 15,000 acres of swamp. Fish can migrate in and out, somebody put a dam in there. We report that to the court, the court took no action, so we filed a notice of intent to make and remove the dam. The court gave me after the fact permit. After the fact permit, it was a general nationwide permit, meaning they don't have to mitigate. No mitigation, and the nationwide permit that they used to given that, it say it cannot be used to block public access, it cannot be used to alter the flow capacity of the stream, it cannot be used to affect like crops production and stuff like that. It specifically say it cannot be used for that. The court did it anyway, no mitigation. And then you guys, you know, gonna do that, and they want you to mitigate. It's a huge problem. We're suing the court on that. And you know, that's one thing good about us working with the parishes, because that's what we do. We can identify those problems and try to do something about it.
Yeah, I think if somebody looks at it, they would see that we really have a negligible impact on the ecosystem in the entire area. And they're forcing us to mitigate the entire width of the levee and the drainage, you know, the drainage canal serving the pumps, or the drainage canal is still wetlands. But we're having to pay for it to be mitigated, and it just makes no sense to apply the same rules for the entire nation to our area because of, you know, our ecosystem. I mean, we're sensitive to the ecosystem, but it just doesn't have the same impact as someone that's losing the only area of wetlands within 50 square miles or something like that.
I could do a presentation for you guys and show you some of the things that's happening in the basin. The same section, no, the next section, you know, the big island between Whiskey Bay and Palo Channel and the Chapala River. Below, you know, right there, that was critical habitat for the Louisiana black bear, critical habitat. And most of it is on the environmental easements that they're not supposed to build. Well, a millionaire put a mansion in there, guest house, use tables, he dug 2 ponds, and you can Google Earth, you can see all clearance everywhere. We pay millions of dollars of our taxpayer money to protect those forests, and now they've been developed, and the court don't enforce it. No enforcement. Not only did they enforce it, they given the permit to bring electricity under the levee for the mansion. And when we get the documents with a FOIA request, and the documents say, yeah, that's real estate owned by the Corps of Engineers, they did it anyway. So things like this, you know, working together, because we meet with the coroner quarterly right now, and we're trying to change the way the district operate. So every quarterly, next month, we're gonna be meeting with him again. So if I understand what's going on with the parish, I may be able to help or work with the parish to solve the problems. Yeah.
Sir, could we have your name for the record, please?
Yeah, my name is Dean Wilson,
Dean?
Dean. Wilson.
Thank you.
And I left my cards in the car, but I'll bring some cards. And so you can have my contact information. Like, yeah, I live in Bayusoro.
All right, no action.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Have a good night.
We'll let Mr. Bobby Wilkerson. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Mr. Blanchard. Second. Second by Mr. Brew. Meeting is adjourned.
We'll call to order the 5 o'clock Finance Committee meeting. Let the record reflect all members are present. Request approval to pay list of bills submitted through November 22nd, 2024. Motion by Mr. Nakam. Second by Mr. Bro. I'm sorry. Mr. Alcorn.
No? Yeah, yeah. No, I'm sorry. I didn't-
All in favor?
Looking at the top.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of budget comparison statements for October 2024.
No, I mean, the reports are included for your review, just to give you all an update. You know, we are a little bit behind on proposed budgets. We're back on track today. We're hoping to have those presented to you by December 11th meeting. We have gotten with the Legislative Auditor's Office, and the revised statute says the final deadline is 15 days into the new year to have an adopted budget. So we should be in time. Just approve the budget comparison reports, statements as
Motion to
presented.
accept the report.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn, second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned by Mr. Alcorn,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Nah.
Well, thank you for having me. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
That's all I see is that.
This last session, they agreed to use that money.
I'll let you my card.
All right, thank you.
Pleasure meeting you. I'll let you my card.
All right, 5:10,
I'll see you.
call Federal Program Committee meeting to order. All members are present except Mr. Jamie Ponville. First item on the agenda is request approval for the president to sign the heat contract.
We're gonna table that item for tonight. Our light heat contract hasn't came in. It was supposed to be in by Tuesday and it hadn't came in.
Okay, so we're gonna table that item. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Alcone, second by Mr. Blanchard. Federal Program meeting is adjourned.
Just take a break. They may pay,
I'm all for it. I mean, I just.
they may pay a little.
5:15, will get the personnel committee meeting started. Let the record reflect all members are present, except Mr. Pondville. Item 1, discuss amended personnel manual policy regarding pre-employment physical x-rays for new hires.
Yeah, I put this on the agenda, Mr. Chair, based off an email, myself and parish manager received from, LWCC, just as a recommendation, based off of our claims and how we're trying to work towards getting those numbers down. With the pre-employment, trying to add a new factor in of doing full x-rays. I kind of feel as though that, maybe a small percentage of various employees that may come to work for us may have some pre-existing conditions, and based off their jobs, the jobs that they do, they may aggravate whatever incident they may have had previously. So this is just one of a recommendation that was sent out, like I said, to me and Aaron. I did ask Aaron I know we do pre-employment physicals, but they have drug testing and alcohol. I don't know how in depth. I asked him to check into it, see what will be a cost. I don't know if it'll be a good thing for us to do.
Background check though?
They do a background check, but
Cover that though.
but our claims are so high from injuries. That's why we're in the situation we're in. So, Aaron, go ahead and share some light on based off some stuff that you got. I mean, it's only up for discussion.
So now, it's just a basic physical that gets, done by the family doctor clinic on the applicant. There's no x-rays or anything involved. Basically, it's just a doctor's opinion on if this person is at the most part just basically healthy, enough to work. There really isn't any in-depth, like, look into a person besides just basic health. It's not until after the person gets here that they complete a post-hire medical questionnaire, which obviously none of that information can be available to any of y'all. So there's, looking more in depth of it, like Mr. Ron said, he was trying to figure out a way that maybe we could work something out to where things could be documented if a person has some kind of physical ailment before they get here. But I got prices on x-rays because the family doctor clinic basically said that most employers just do either a C-spine x-ray shot, a thoracic spine x-ray shot, or a lumbar spine x-ray shot. They are $225 a shot, the x-ray shot for each one. They did tell me that most employers just do the lumbar section from the lower back because it is the part of the spine that's most injured when lifting. So they also gave, like I said, they gave prices on that, and they gave the recommendation that a lot of employers are moving to have a test done by the Wellness Center in Thibodeau. It's $125 a test. Basically, the test is a physical therapist comes to the job site and takes a person's job description and goes through, and they come up with a test based on that person's job description and the task that they would complete. And they conduct a test after they create it at their wellness center, based off of what that person would actually do. Meaning if in the job description of that person's required to lift 50 pounds unattended and move around with it, they have to perform that in the test at the wellness center in order to pass. And it's all pre-employment requirements, part of a physical. So they do that now for a couple of public agencies and one private company. Based off of that would require a major rework of most of our job descriptions to be more in depth with those things that would involve ladder climbing, what weights a person would lift, and being able to sit, stand, and perform basic tasks like that. It would take some time to rework those. But going back to what just started with Mr. Ron, it would, in my opinion, a more in-depth physical form created by us that is more stringent would probably be the best thing, because at the end of the day, the only thing that I and you all have to go off of is a doctor's opinion. We obviously cannot see a person's medical history. So if a person checks off all the boxes on the basic form, we have, the doctor just gives their recommendation saying the person can work. But if we have a more stringent one, then again, the doctor's opinion may favor one way or another. And again, that's just brainstorming from Mr. Ron's request of just to kind of dig into this. If anybody's got a question, I'll do my best to answer. Kind of with.
I think most of our claims are from after incident or accident. So I don't see what it would help us.
So,
Because
yeah, maybe this, my question might help clarify. So is this more for documenting a pre-existing condition and still employing the person? Or is this to prevent employment?
I would, it definitely wouldn't be able to be used to prevent employment. I think being in, I don't know, I think there might be a,
I guess is the intent to stop somebody that has a back injury from coming to work and then claiming that their back got hurt on the job? What is workers' comps? I guess goal in even giving us this recommendation. It just seems very like.
Gray area.
Yeah,
It's
like
a
you're putting
spin-
yourself out there at preventing an employee from working and just, I don't know, it
And
seems
so
like a
it's-
discrimination issue.
well, and that's why I was going to about, I mean, being an equal opportunity employer. I mean, if, just because a person has injured their wrist in the past wouldn't stop them from working here, because just like how I correlated with, my special assistant at the office, if a person gets hurt at work, it's workers' comp. It doesn't matter what direction it happened, if something was associated with it prior. I think it was more along the lines of maybe something can be documented for future reference, maybe in litigation. I think that kind of,
How we can protect, I guess, trying to
yeah,
protect.
and that's
our-
kind,
I
so
guess
that, in
was
my
the
opinion,
main
that would be
thing.
the only,
What this seems like to me is the insurance company is trying to put the responsibility on us to verify pre-existing conditions rather than them doing their due diligence after an injury to
to
verify if it was
verify,
before or
that's it.
after.
They can do the same thing afterwards. See that
And they're
if
just using our high premium as an opportunity to lower their exposure.
so it's
I don't know, it just doesn't seem right.
so it,
Doesn't seem.
again, to me, it would just be a documentation thing. I mean, that's why they recommended years, I don't know how many years ago it was, but like in that email chain that she had sent, it was several years ago when they started the post-hire medical questionnaire. It's something that every employee does, at the beginning of every year, where it's a packet of like 8 pages that needs to be filled out. Again, none of the information can be shared with anybody beyond my eyes, but
And I
that's,
think that's where the problem comes in though, because after someone does get hurt, you have the information. If you reveal it to someone else, now you're on the hook for sharing private information.
correct. So I mean, it's, again, I just dug into it and scratched the surface a little bit. So
And this was brought forth by LWCC
Yeah,
to
it was a
lower the premium.
recommendation.
it was a tab in there that was just working on like maybe reevaluating pre-employment hiring process.
That's where it's coming from. Just up for discussion.
Probably just a recommendation.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's all.
and again, like I said, to just summarize it,
Gotcha.
the only way
We
we.
do the pre-employment physical already. We're taking it in
No
mind.
action.
No action, no action.
I would suggest that if you wanna, expand that pre-employment physical, you know, if you wanna have some type of lifting to see if somebody can lift 40 pounds, 50 pounds. Internally, though, we do that.
Yeah, and so, well, I mean, that would kind of go down another, it's almost like seeing if a person can actually operate a piece of equipment before they actually get offered a job. Right now, there's nothing in process. There's no formal process to say that like some other employers have. It's almost like now it's use the 60-day probationary period for that.
I think that's what it's for.
Yeah, and like this, and no, that's what it's for, but like it's a person has formally offered a job, accepts, gets hired, and then it becomes a testing thing.
And if they don't perform in 60 days of the poor, you can,
Yeah.
release them.
Of course.
Move on, my
All right, item 2, request approval
So we're
to
gonna
hire
table that, right?
equipment
Yeah.
operator 1B grade 5, step 10.
Yes, it'd be covered. I gave everybody a sheet, so my recommendation.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Nakane,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion pass. Item 3, request approval of recommendation of parish manager relative to a maintenance worker.
We can go into executive session on that, gentlemen. There was a notice that was, signed specific to the action. So if you make a motion to go into executive session, that would be my recommendation.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Blanford,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion by Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Carter, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to accept the recommendation of the parish manager.
Motion by Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Blanford, all in favor? Any nays? Motion passed.
Motion adjourned.
Motion adjourned. Mr. Nakane, second by Carter, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Let's go ahead and get started with the Road and Bridge Committee meeting. Let the record reflect that, all members are present, except for Mr. Ponville. Items 1, 2, and 3, discuss repairs to Arrowsteel Road Bridge. Anybody got anything on that, Mr. Parish Manager?
That, I sent out emails to several engineering firms. We put together a quote to manage the repair of the project. Basically from start to finish, from scope to completion with a new load rating. I received a couple emails back saying, yeah, we're working on it, but I haven't got any numbers back yet. Well, and that's a bridge that's in the off system.
It's in that.
Just to elaborate, that's a scouring issue.
What?
The scouring issue.
Yeah, like it doesn't need to be, it's not need to be closed or anything.
No,
It's just-
under the embankment where it hits the bank, where the bulkhead is, it's got scoured out. There's something like the same thing we did to that bridge in Pepper about 4 years ago, where they come in and just pump cement under the abutments.
Okay.
So that's that issue. And then the number 2 and 3 is a different issue. That's together.
And you said this bridge is part of the off-road?
Both of these bridges are also part of the off-system bridge program. The state, and this is an inspection the state did. The state found these issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, not to go off, but isn't Coon Road getting done this year or next year?
That's in
Cool.
2025. That's gonna be bridge replacement. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
total
That's gonna be
bridge replacement.
federally funded bridge replacement
All right,
through off-system bridge program.
okay.
I think what we're looking at though is maybe repairing Arceel Road Bridge.
Correct.
On the parish's dime.
Okay.
Yes,
and
we
not
have to be
have-
responsible for these repairs. That is
So we
correct.
may have to derate the load until those repairs are done.
Okay.
But I think he's needing to find an engineer
Correct.
to give him some guidance
Yeah,
so
on
that-
derating it and
Yeah,
repairing.
that's what I'm getting prices on. Number 2,
Go ahead.
the Bridge Street Bridge, that one, the deficiencies also from the DOT. That one needs to be reload rated, and it's possibly gonna drop in a weight limit. I got emails sent out to firms to perform that test as well. I'm waiting on the numbers back now.
That is the bridge that crosses by Lafourche by the Plottenville Church. The old that's the only bridge we have that we own on over by Lafourche.
Yeah,
It has some damage to the pilings.
yeah, there's some,
State farm.
some spalling and some cracks are forming on the pilings itself in the bayou.
No, need that bridge been there, keep it there.
I think once we get the estimates back on that, we
Yes.
might be able to approach the Violet Freshwater District and see if we can get some help assistance from them.
Yeah, and number 3 is, that's related.
Related to that, okay. All right, so just waiting on some quotes, so no action on either one of these 3 items?
Number 3, you said what?
Well,
It's pertaining to these
It's
other 2.
1 and 2.
we do have a 30-day, on that second bridge, we do have a 30-day, limit to get that bridge or get it re-rated. So I mean, I know if we can, maybe maybe if y'all put something in where he would accept the lowest bid, we could get it done before the next meeting. You know, this is gonna take a little while to get this.
Yeah,
bridge
that one,
rated.
so I did, the only person that, got something back from that one, Mr. Joseph messaged me earlier and said that he had finished a proposal for that one, so that would be the first set of numbers I received for that, for the Bridge Street Bridge.
Did you set a deadline?
You probably got 3 quotes.
Yeah,
But you don't have 3.
No, you don't have 3.
no, not yet.
Not yet.
So Paul, you think next meeting is too long?
They gave us 30 days to have it, re-rated, or they were gonna close it. I mean, they didn't say specifically, but they said 30 days to have it
Yeah,
re-rated.
30 days to have, some form of plan to them.
We can maybe wait another.
Next meeting.
December 11th.
So it's likely, because of another issue that we'll have to have a special meeting first week of December. So. I'll let y'all know. We'll talk about that a little
Oh, yeah,
later.
talk about it another time. All right, okay. All right. As of now, no action, on these 3 items. On these 3 items. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I got a motion by Mr. Blanchard, got a second by Mr. Bro, all in favor, all opposed, meeting adjourned.
All right, we'll call the Engineering Grants Committee meeting order, reflect everybody's present, on the committee. First item's update from GIS Engineering, Gilmore Street Drainage Project. Take one at a time, I guess.
That's right, my brother. Dwayne Vale on GIS Engineering. We still don't have any updates as far as Gilmore, waiting on the budget, I guess, to, be available for that project.
Bertrandville Drainage Project.
Bertrandville, we submitted the packet of the bids. Wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, Bertrandville and Belrose, we submitted the packets to the parish, and they were discussing those with the budget that's available, and we should have a recommendation by next week, contingent upon the attorney's review and the board's approval. The Conscient Canal, the design,
Road Lane.
I'm sorry, Belrose Lane, it's gonna be the same as Bertrandville. And the Constant Canal, we should have the initial report, the hydrology model and everything is done, and that report should be December 4th at the latest, delivered to the parish.
So on the Constant Canal, I had a phone conference this morning with ELOS. And they would like to meet about the Constant Canal project specifically to make sure that they have a full understanding of, you know, to get caught up. They have some documents that we've transmitted to them, but they asked if they could schedule an in-person meeting. I'm just passing that on.
Not a problem. I'll get with Troy, who's heading up that project for us and schedule that meeting. Yeah, so that would be our updates. The plan is to have it by the 4th, if not sooner.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving. Update from the Planet Design Group? No one here?
So I can kind of give you an update on a couple of these, just, so they had some movement on Gerald Street levy project. We received a notice from the Corps that we'd have to mitigate 14 acres for that project. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. That's more than the footprint of the levy. They're basically looking at all of the property that's included inside the levy as being mitigated. Our intent is not to mitigate and lose all of those wetlands. So we're gonna have to work back with the Corps and try to get that number reduced, because we're basically talking about $500,000 in just mitigation costs.
Yeah,
if we have to go
you
with
said
that.
the word
That's just-
mitigate, not cheap.
That's just ridiculous. Then for the ring levies in Pierport, we have that permit in hand, and, I know, there've been some conversations about what parts we could do in-house, what parts we have to go out for bid, and just trying to get, I guess, manpower assessments done to see how best to move forward with those projects. Then on the other levies that we had DDG give us a report on, I met with DDG, went over those report findings, and they gave us some recommendations. The problem is each of those recommendations, we can't touch those levies unless we have a permit to work on those levies. So we have to put a plan in place to get an after-the-fact permit for our existing levy conditions, so that then we can move forward to make the improvements to the levies. So that's, I think they're still doing some work trying to determine what levies are, if there are any levies that were properly permitted whenever they were put in. As of right now, none of those have been identified.
To update you on that search, the only one that I received a copy from Mr. Joseph's office was Oak Lane. And that was one of the more recent ones. That's the only one that I have.
We had a permit by us, 11 over subdivision.
We just need records of it.
Yes, and so what I did was I emailed Mr. Joseph's office, and a couple of folks got on it digging. That's the only one I received. back.
Yeah, we went to the
Oak Lane.
court, I went to New Orleans myself.
And it was through Mr. Joseph's office?
Yeah.
Did that confirm?
Yeah,
Okay, and that's Oak Ridge?
over subdivision. They got a permit, they go at the mitigation fund. Went a little bit further than we should have. Remember that, Kim?
All right, so no other update on
No other update on
that.
All right, next item, update from Infinity Engineering on fast water sewer plant improvements.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Hey,
Can you hear
Brian.
me? Right. So we submitted a stamp bid package on the 15th. There's some outstanding items in the front ends, contract type documents and information that we need provided and also reviewed by the parish and the parish attorney. I would encourage everybody to take a look at those drawings. If there's anything that needs to be changed, we can address that with the first addendum when we go out to bid. Brian and Ebony and I attended the water sector meeting on the 14th. They basically said, well, Tracy Watts, after we spoke, she came up and with OCD, and she stated that the water sector has, quote, never approved any kind of variance to the rate study that she's aware of, but the water sector recommended that we petition OCD with a letter by the 10th of December to propose some alternate path forward. So that's something that the parish needs to do if they're interested in pursuing the water sector funding. Other than that, I have no other updates.
Any questions for Brian? Any questions?
No, so I don't know, Pat, do you have anything on it? I know I reached out to Ebony today.
Yeah, I
And
think there's a little bit more to that. Pat Gordon with South Central Planning. In order to address the concerns of OCD through any type of waiver or variance, y'all would need to call a special meeting to take some action on the recommendation that y'all would want to go forward with. And I think Ebony has submitted several recommendations.
not yet, she's still working on it. That's why
She's
we
still
couldn't take
working
action
on it,
tonight.
but some are, let me just give you, requesting for some flexibility on the timing, incorporating some changes in the specific guidelines as it could utilize combining different approaches that are outlined in the regulations. It seems like there needs to be a better balance with, especially with low income residential areas need to have, we can't have these drastic increases in their sewer rates. I mean, it's just, that's absurd. So is there some type of balance or some type of waiver that could be granted? So of course, she hasn't finalized all of that yet. She's putting a report together, and if y'all would like to take that approach, we would be glad to come with a full report with better detail for a special meeting if you call that. And if you did have that special meeting, I'll just let you know that we could add to that the LGAP funding. Maybe we can get some specifics on an application or what equipment y'all are looking for. We can put the application together. We can give Mr. Alcorn a full report on CDBG and when's the next time that you could apply for some grant, because you mentioned that at the last meeting. Literally the day we had finished up an application for him right after he left, and we haven't done any CDBG applications since. But we can submit a letter of interest when the next funding cycle comes about, and we need to know what application you like to file. So maybe a park, I don't know. But also, we could talk a little bit also at the special meeting about the BETNEP funding. The flyers are complete now for the sewer assistance, and it would be for low to moderate income families. We have $200,000. The last Violafouche sewer project that we had like this, most of the residents were from Assumption Parish, but a lot of them couldn't participate because they couldn't put up the match. This particular BETNEP grant that we have is specifically for low to moderate income and is 100% funding. So we would like to get those flyers out also. So that's 4 items that we could put on a special meeting outside of the Water Sector Commission recommendations.
All right.
Yeah, do you have equipment? I mean, we can take care of the gap easily.
So-
You keep saying you need vehicles.
That was my question was, I know we have that commodity trailer that was put on. And then there was if I'm not mistaken, it was a 3/4 ton truck. That was last time.
All right, but they're off key for what we're talking about right here.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we still got Brian.
Oh, we still got Brian online. I'm sorry. We'll do
Yeah.
that under your update, Pat.
Yeah, we do that, the other update. We still got Brian with,
The race stuff.
There was one thing I wanted to clarify. So the bid package that we submitted did not include your Virginia. We just did that under the assumption that, that the grant wouldn't be provided. So if we need to include that back in, that's not a problem. But like I said, there's still things in the front ends that need to be provided before we can actually go to bid. But you have a stamped set of drawings, And, you know, as soon as y'all get that stuff to us, we're ready to go.
But the estimate provided for you, Virginia, is still valid, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I think we was gonna wait till 11 after that last water sector meeting, am I correct? The water sector commission meeting, which is on December 11th, right?
No, our information has to be submitted by the 10th.
By the 10th, but don't they have a meeting, right, on the 11th?
Yes.
On the tenth.
I'll-
Next meeting is on
On
the
the
10th.
10th, that's, okay,
Right.
I'm wrong, right,
So they asked us to submit it as soon as possible before that meeting.
before the 10th.
We can't submit it the 10th. So.
No,
so
I think that the reason for the 10th is because all of the funds need to be obligated by the new year. So that's really the last chance.
We have a
Right.
special meeting,
Well, and that's
Yeah.
exactly why I mentioned it earlier.
yeah, you got it, you called it, okay.
And if there's, and I mean, I would not like to be quoted on that. I would try to direct all your questions to Ebony or Pat. I'm more versed on the technical side of things. I haven't been involved intimately with the grant terms and all those things.
Sure.
So, but I believe it's the 10th. I believe so.
So what would be the purpose of the special meeting? Will we not just submit the recommendations of Ebony with South Central Planning?
But we have to review what those recommendations are and make sure the
Yeah, we
jury
all know.
agrees with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know
And
what
it-
it
and
is.
You know, if her recommendation is
Recommendation's
that.
not finalized yet.
Right, and I'm not saying that it is, but if her recommendation is that we go up to $55 per customer.
Right. I don't-
We,
yeah, I don't
we
think
have
that's
to, we have
what's-
to know
yeah,
that before.
but I don't
we-
think that's-
But no, it is implementing that within, I think, 3 years.
Yeah, and also what you need to realize is that if you don't take advantage of this grant funding, you can't apply for next year's funding. Because they've already, allocated funding to Assumption, so you can't reapply for this project next year. So that creates a problem.
Sure, but we just need her report and recommendations
Yes.
before we even schedule our special meeting. Because I just need to make sure we have one, so we don't have a minute. She's aware of the dates. I know she
Yes.
is, so once she notifies me that it's ready, then we can set the date for a special meeting.
Okay. And if y'all want to add to the special meeting, we can maybe.
It's gotta be next week because of
There's
next.
no other week.
Oh,
We got
no,
it.
it's just a matter of what day next week. I
Okay.
I don't
All right,
know
we'll get that in a minute.
when it's gonna be yet.
Right, and anything else, Brian?
No, sir. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you, man.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Update from grants coordinator?
Good evening. I have an update from Elos Lacey Landrum, the senior project manager, who's the grant administrator for Constant Canal by East St. Vincent. On November 12th, the parish met with OCD on regarding the Constant Canal project. The main outcome of this meeting was an updated schedule from GIS Engineering sent on November 14th. The H&H study is expected to be completed by December 4th. On November 14th, Lacey Landrum conducted a site visit and reviewed and organized files for both grant projects. She created a checklist of needed items according to the CDBG records checklist and identified gaps in the current documentation. She's currently updating policies to be in compliance with a recent update from CDBG policies. On November 26th, the parish met with OCD regarding this Bayou St. Vincent project and established a plan for moving forward with procuring an engineer. Lacey will assist with writing the request for qualifications. That's it.
No action. Thank you. Next item. Update from South Central Planning Development Commission, Mr. Pat Gordon.
Sure, Pat Gordon, South Central Planning. Again, let me reiterate that if a special meeting is called, we could include the BETNEP funding for individual sewer treatment plants, $200,000 for low moderate income families. We could discuss the next round of funding for LCBG and what letter of intent could be submitted for any projects. And also if we can get some list of the equipment that y'all want to apply for LGAP, we can certainly get that into the portal as soon as possible. Also, we will be assisting Paul with the resilient program for the courthouse. There's some additional information he needs to submit for that. And, that's all we have at this time. Thank you.
Question for you on the Bitnip.
Sure.
So is that, gonna be limited to the watershed into by Lafouche? Or is that
Yes.
the route of assumption?
Only by Lafouche.
Alright, so is there any way that we could look at requesting that they expand that throughout the parish? Because,
I think they'd like to expand it to other areas. And they've done Bayou Falls in Lafouche, their watershed, and then Bayou Lafouche. And the reason that they targeted those two watersheds is because that they both go into the drinking water. And so they want to address that first. I know that they're talking about going to buy a Terrebonne in Terrebonne for the next project. But if you wanted to look at some other watershed in Assumption, when Andrew Barron, if y'all did put this on the agenda, special meeting, I would have Andrew Barron with Ventnor here to give a little presentation as well as myself. But you could ask him if you could include maybe parts of Pierre Point or some other areas of the parish, Lake Barrett, campsites or something of that nature.
Good deal.
I got a question for Mr. Pat. You said, I think that preliminarily, you said that it was gonna be around $300,000 for the gap. Yes, is that, was that?
Well, let me reiterate that.
That
Okay?
sounded kind of
Is
high.
that it's a little confusing. The police jury can apply for $100,000.
That's what it's always been, correct?
And 300,000 though has been allocated to the parish of Assumption. So you would need to wait to see what Napoleonville applied for, if they applied for anything, and if they didn't, then you could pick up the difference of the 300,000. So you would have to amend your application after the deadline of the LGAP application period.
and I think the village can only apply for 25.
25,000, that's correct.
So we know that there's gonna be a gap that can,
Oh, absolutely.
that can be filled up.
$5,000 difference from
Yeah.
100.
That's crazy. It's
That's
never
right.
been like that.
Never been like that, no, never been
We'll
like
see how
that.
that
I've
works
been
out.
So, so when we start talking about equipment to buy or whatever you like to purchase with the LGAP, you may want to think a little bigger.
Well,
That's all.
and the reason why I brought that up is because I have yet to receive an answer from the FEMA regarding that $45,000 I asked for that alternate project that I was gonna put to a new Tahoe. And to see if I get a little piece of the pie, if it was gonna be higher, but if it's gonna be the same $100,000 figure, then I would leave my name out of it.
Oh, that's 175, then.
Trying to get your new whip over.
Yeah, I hadn't received an answer from FEMA yet, if I could use that money on alternate project for a new vehicle.
All right.
Well, they told you yes, but when it comes to putting it in writing,
That is correct.
it's a different story.
All right, Pat.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That's it. Next update on courthouse renovation project.
So Aaron, get your equipment together.
You need a bush hog, right?
That's my list. Any update from the courthouse renovation? Aaron? No,
No, nothing new.
nothing on it? No action. Any update on Tackle Park, Mike? No update? Motion adjourned? Motion. By Mr. Diaz? Second. Second by Mr. Blanchard, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Good finish.
Cool.
So we're call to order the regular meeting of the Assumption Parish Police Jury. Let the record reflect, all members are present except for Mr. Ponville and Mr. Patero. God who teaches us by sending the light of the Holy Spirit into our hearts, grant that by the light of that Spirit, right judgment may be ours, and that we may ever find joy in his guidance. Amen.
Pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Anyone have any corrections to the minutes of November 13th, 2024? Here's none. Entertain a motion to approve those minutes. Motion by Mr. Alcorn,
Second.
second by Mr. Bro. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment period. We accept public comment for any item that's on the agenda. Second call. Last call. Let the record reflect no public comment. Drainage Committee report. Mr. Carter.
Any committee met at 4:30. All members present except Mr. Pond and Mr. Irons. First item, discuss the Atchafalaya Basin and flood protection in Assumption Parish. Mr. Dean Wilson did a presentation, to inform of what was going on. Parish president will be meeting with him soon, come up with a plan. The second one was update on Monterey and Lower Texas. So you got anything on that?
Plans are progressing. We did hear responses from the Department of Natural Resources and the Army Corps of Engineers on the Himalaya Canal permit, which has now been made part of those projects. We satisfied DNR's request for information. We received the Army Corps of Engineers request earlier this week. We have responded to it. It appears that not all of the documents, the revisions that we made to satisfy DNR were forwarded to the Corps. So we're in the process of forwarding those now. Hopefully that will answer all of their questions and push the permit to the next step, which would be the 30-day public notice. So once that's done, we can then incorporate whatever changes they deem necessary into the plans. That at our push is by your next available meeting, which would be sometime, I would say the last meeting of this year, to have a preliminary set for you to review prior to going out to bid, hopefully right after the 1st.
Any questions? Next one. Request approval to sweep out the following canals: Georgia Road Plantation and Constant Road and Bayou La Fourche and September Mill. Joe, you got anything on that?
I'm sorry, I apologize.
I think a lot of these outfalls are included in the Monterey project, and Mr. Bro is just requesting an update.
Update on.
Yes, I mean, as far as that's concerned, those outfalls are included in a lot of those outfalls are included in the plan, and they're part of the proposed design plans. As I said, we're about 75% complete. I hope to come to you probably, as I said, right before your last meeting before the year, give you a preliminary set that would be, in our opinion, at about an 80-85% complete range, so that we could get any alterations buttoned up. We are going to be meeting with Aaron, hopefully when we get back from this Thanksgiving holiday, to go over those portions of the project that can be done in-house and removed out of the design scope of the bidding work. And that was discussed previously, as we're trying to save some cost here. As you know, this project got expanded, different things were added and so forth. So we're trying to control that budget. And some of this can be done in-house quickly and more efficiently. So we're going to be getting with him to see what portions they've already done and remove some of that from the scope, and then we'll be able to move forward from that point.
So whenever you mention possibly going out for bid after the first of the year, is that just for Himalaya Canal, or is that?
No,
for-
that would be the Monterey, the Monterey Lower Texas project as it is scoped. In other words, that's inclusive of excavation of the the Himalaya Canal, the Mare Canal up to the pump station, the renovations to the said pump station, and addition and extensions of levees along the Mare Canal. It also includes excavation and of the ditches along the Constan Road to facilitate the relocation of the bar screen, which is also part of that project.
So
Now, where all this money coming from?
he has a project that's already has money. out.
He had a project that was originally scoped all as one, and then it was split to the Mare and Lower Texas projects. And then shortly as of about 3 or 4 months ago, it was also rescoped because some of the work was being included by in-house work. Some of it was done under FEMA projects and so forth. So we rescoped the project, as well as we met with Mr. Bro regarding improvements to the pump station, improvements to Oakley Road. I think we even discussed at previous meetings how there were some ideas of bringing the water to the front. We discussed that and how that had been done previously. It didn't work out, it needed to be pumped. So we rescoped that project. We brought that to you all, had that rescope approved by this jury, and that's the basis of the plans we've been working on. I can provide you with a final finished scope of everything that's been discussed. I know it's kind of been here and there, but that's why we brought both of those scopes back to the jury and had them approved.
So with the efforts that you're talking about, though, with the extending of levees and along Constant Canal, you said? So
Along the Mare, basically, if you go down Constant Road, you come to the Mare Canal, which leads to the pump station off to the left. That levee needs to be raised and extended pretty much all the way to Highway 400, because you have water that's backing up and coming around. It's flooding those, it's flooding those graveyards and so forth along there. That's the elevation of levees that I'm.
So my question was more, so has the permit process been completed for those projects, or still has to be?
It's in process. That's part of the Himalaya Canal. We're not necessarily needing we don't need a permit to raise the existing levees along the Mare Canal, nor the advancements or additions that we're doing to the pump station, as that's all non-wetland, that's all areas. We're not doing any clearing, we're not doing any excavating there, so there's really no permit necessary. We're talking about the areas where we need permits is the excavation of the Himalaya Canal, which goes all the way to Lake Verret. So that's where we're seeking permits as far as DNR is concerned.
Okay, well, and it's just, I know Aaron has been sensitive to working on levees without having permits. He'll need some sort of documentation that any work that is within the scope of the parish that doesn't need a permit, that we have that documented.
Certainly. And as I said, our proposal is to meet with Aaron after we get back from this holiday. We can go over all of that. If he feels or feels that we're inaccurate in our assessment that we don't need a permit, we can certainly apply for one.
No, it's not. I mean, it's up to you as the engineer to do a determination.
Right.
on
Well,
that.
we're applying for the permits that we deemed or we're determining are necessary. The levees I'm talking about raising and elevating are in areas that are non-wetland. They're existing levees that are having to do with the pump station and the operation of that pump station in and of itself.
So I understand that. We just want to make sure that we have documentation from you stating that and certified by you as the engineer that that's not.
No problem.
Okay, so we got an update from Mr. Sawa on item number 2 and number 3. Presented all to you in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Carter,
Thank you.
second by Mr. Nakane. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Finance Committee report. Finance Committee met at 5:02 today. We approved to pay the list of bills submitted through November 22nd, 2024, and we approved the budget comparison statements of October 2024.
Motion approve your report.
Motion to approve the report by Mr. Nakane,
Second.
second by Mr. Diaz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Federal Programs Committee report, Chairman Carter.
Federal Program Committee met at 5:10. All members present except Mr. Ponville. We have one item, Request approval for the president to sign the Leahy contract. It was tabled because we don't have a contract in place yet. Present this in form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Carter to accept the report,
Second.
second by Mr. Bro, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Sure I'm on the right agenda. Personnel Committee report, Chairman Diaz.
Personnel Committee met at 5:15. All members are present except Mr. Conville. Item 1, we discussed, amending personnel manual policy. Item 2, we approved to hire equipment operator 1B, grade 5, step 10. And item 3, we approved the recommendation of the parish manager relative to a maintenance worker. I present this in form of a motion.
Second.
Motion to accept the report by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Road and Bridge Committee report, Chairman Alcorn.
Bridge Committee met this afternoon. All members were present, except for Mr. Ponville. 3 items on the agenda: discuss the repairs to Earlsdale Road Bridge, discuss repairs to Bridge Street Bridge, and also discuss funding for Parish Bridge load rating. No action item on all 3 of these items, so I'll give you that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn,
Second.
second by Mr. Nakam. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Just an FYI, if you get those prices, maybe that can be put in the meeting
Oh,
next
yeah.
week rather than wait to the.
Engineering Grants Committee report, Chairman Nakam.
Yes, Engineering Grants Committee met, all committee members are present. First item, update from GIS Engineering on Delmore Street, Bertrandville Drainage, Bell Rose Lane Drainage Project, and also Constant Canal Drainage Project. Update from the Plan and Design Group, no one's present. Leroy had a couple comments on that. Next item, update from Infinity Engineering on parish-wide sewer plant improvements. Had update from the Accounts Grant Coordinator, update from South Central Planning Development Commission. No updates on the courthouse or the tactical landing project. All that in form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Nakam,
Second.
second by Mr. Diaz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, discuss usage of the arena at the Ag Center for the 2025 FFA Rodeo. Ms. Phelps?
Good evening. At the last meeting, I believe, or meeting before that, y'all had met and y'all approved the reduction in rate. And so I wanted to thank you for that, for our program. And first, I wanted to share a little bit of information for you, just to give you an idea of what goes on. So, throughout the year, our members at Assumption High School have participated in several events. Starting like after the rodeo, our first thing, we go to leadership camp. I had 10 students. It cost us probably around $3,000 to $4,000 for us to go. It's in Alexandria. We spend 4 days there. I had some members that were recognized for receiving their state FFA degree, Charlie Boudreau and Ella Rivere. And those students were recognized for that degree, meaning that they've achieved a certain amount or a certain level within the FFA, and they're honored and recognized for it. We also had Anna Abear that was honored because she won the state championship for prepared public speaking. She created a 7-minute speech that she spoke about on pesticides and their uses, and she actually won our state competition. The next activity we did in the summertime was leadership camp, which is held at the Wesley Center in Woodworth, Louisiana. We took 10 students and they go in and they learn leadership skills, they learn team working skills, team building that they're able to bring back to Assumption High School members, and they're able to use that. That cost us about $1,400. Then we also went to National FFA Convention at the end of October. We had 12 students that competed or that attended convention. One of those was Anna Abear because she competed nationally and she placed in the top 16 in the nation. Louisiana hasn't had a public speaker that has broke the top 16 in 10 years. So for a junior in high school who's competing against college level students, it's phenomenal. We were very proud of her. We also had 2 more students that competed. I told you how we have a state FFA degree. Well, I had 2 students that earned their American FFA degree, which is, again, it's just another level. It is actually the top tier. And it is like one of the biggest honors that FFA puts out on a national level. Louisiana had 11 students, and Assumption Parish, Assumption High School had 2 of those students. That was Emily Rivera and Madeline Landry. And so we were proud of those members, and I had 9 other senior officers and members that were able to travel to Indianapolis with us. That trip cost us about $19,000. Yeah. And then just on a note, we have this year coming up, our land judging team consisted of 8 members, competed at our state contest a couple of weeks ago, and they were 4th in the state out of 65 teams. Those students earned their right to represent Louisiana at the national competition in Oklahoma in the first week in May. So if you wonder what goes on at Assumption High FFA, if you wondered what we do this rodeo for, is to raise money for our students to be able to do this without having to pay. So I thank the jury because it starts with you guys allowing us to use the facility at a minimal cost. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, I've been doing this for 23 years and I couldn't do it without local support. So I thank each of you for what you do and your help, but realize that when you think about what goes on at the arena and what we do with our rodeo, that's what it does. It allows our students to be nationally recognized from here in Assumption Parish. And I don't know how often it happens, but I know in our program, it happens pretty regularly. And I'm very proud of that. And I'm very proud of our students. So I wanted to kind of explain that and thank you for what happens and what you do. So I appreciate the reduction in rate. A couple of things I wanted to know. Have we started construction on the facility, on the concession stand? Because I was told I wasn't going to be able to use the concession stand, which is kind of a big deal because we do concessions. And so I'll make things work, but I wanted to know like when construction started, if we started construction, what was going on with that. And I also wanted to know if I was going to be able to use any of the restroom facilities in the concession stand. Like, like last year we used the men's, but we couldn't use the women's. How is that going to work? Because I'll have to rent porta potties like I did last year, but I didn't have to rent as many because we were able to use the men's side. So I just wanted to get an idea of what was going on this year. That way I would have just planning going forward.
Right, so at this time, and I don't expect by the time you have your rodeo, that those facilities are gonna be able to be used.
Okay.
So
What's the date of your rodeo?
The last weekend in April, what is it, 26, 7, I'm sorry,
Okay, that's fine.
25th and 26th.
I plan for external concession stands as well as facilities for both.
For everything, because I didn't know if the bathroom was condemned on the men's side or not. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, all right, good enough. And or do y'all plan to have any work started at all?
So there was, I guess, discovery of additional damage beyond what the original scope was for what was being bid. So it's basically being reevaluated now as to if it is even feasible to move forward with reconstruction, or do we demolish and rebuild?
Okay, okay. And you don't think any of that's gonna start before April?
Do not.
Okay.
I wish we could say it'd be different, but
Well,
just
what-
being realistic, I don't think so.
And I'm okay with either one, and I know this takes time to plan and to get done. I just want to be able to, like, last year they was trying to put a fence up, and like, we were blocking off the main warehouse building where I needed some of the power. Since I didn't have the concession stand to be able to move it, I can put it under a tent and I can make adjustments. I just wanted to know, like, if they were gonna have construction, was it gonna, like, you know, take away from that yard between the 4-H building and the actual facility, if that makes sense. That way I can kind of plan and scope where I'm gonna do what, coming in the next coming months, because that's, I mean, we're starting work and starting sponsorships and things like that already. So I just wanna, like, just have my ducks in a row just to get everything going, because I know it's gonna be a little difficult since I can't use the concession stand at all. So.
Yes, sir, Mr. Landry?
If we just so happen to like start working construction stuff over there, I'll be sure that it's coordinated around that. Try to make it work.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate that. I figured if I put a bug in your ear and then the thought will be there that, hey, we having this event and we're gonna be doing this weekend. So if there's something that comes up, like if y'all just to let me know, that way I can be prepared for it as well. And I had one other request, and that was gonna be the stalls. So I got a reduction in rate on stalls, but I was told I had, based on my email, I have to pay for 2 days worth of the stalls. In the last few years, y'all have allowed me to rent the stalls as I need them. Friday night, I fill up the stalls. If you want me to pay for those up front, that's fine, but Saturday night, I rent 4 stalls last year. I rented 3 stalls the year before. So it's never the same amount. So that I was being charged for both of them. I'm gonna lose money on the stalls if I have to pay for both nights, all of the stalls. I mean, last year y'all allowed me to go ahead and use the facility and rent the stalls as needed, and it wasn't a big problem. So I was just requesting if I could either pay the first night only, and then I'll pay you for what I rent after on the second night, or how we can make that work. Because what happens is I know it's easier when people call in to me because they can text me and say, hey, I need 4 stalls. I've got people that basically have my number saved because we've had the rodeo here long enough. That way, nobody has to, jury administration doesn't have to fool with the rental of the stalls. I take care of that. And then I just turn around, I keep a log of what I have. If you need to see it, whatever, I'm fine with it. But I was just hoping that I didn't have to pay for both nights, because I won't make any money if I pay for both nights.
You shouldn't have to pay for both. Use the stalls, rent the stalls, pay us as needed, as ready.
Okay,
That's what I think. That's my. Yeah,
Thank you.
You shouldn't have to pay for something you like using
Right.
for the stalls, for fundraising.
Yes, and everything else I'm good with. We'll pay up front, all of our, and I get that, but just, I know the stalls, I never rent the second. And I don't always know how many people are coming, from that aspect. So it just makes it a lot easier. And then I'm taking care of and handling, because people, when the contestants call in and say, hey, I'm signing up for the rodeo, then they'll turn around and say, okay, I'm signing up the Sunday. Sunday to Tuesday is usually your call-in days. And between those 3 days, that's when I get my calls to say, hey, I want to rent a stall. Hey, I need to rent 3 stalls, whatever it is. So I'll handle that and take care of it and let you guys know what I've rented, and I'll turn in that money as such when the event is concluded.
That's fine.
Yep, perfect. Well, good job.
Thank y'all very much.
One thing I just wanted to acknowledge, I know you mentioned the state and national things that you participated in, but I just wanted to make sure we recognize the FFA students that assist in building auction items for local fundraisers,
Absolutely.
and for the petting zoo that was at the high school, and,
Yes, sir.
and so forth. So we recognize that we see them out and about in the parish also, not just what they go and do at the state and national level.
Absolutely. My leadership class is currently building toy gators and the little push toys that we use from our scrap wood for our primary, it's actually Head Start programs at Pierre Park and Napoleonville. We'll be going, hand those out to those students this week. And basically my leadership class takes them and builds them wooden projects. So yeah, we do a lot of different things throughout our community as well. And in conjunction to this fundraiser, the rodeo being a fundraiser, if you ever have time to come on this Saturday and come see our special needs rodeo that we hold in conjunction, because I'm all about service. Our FFA is about service, and it's about service learning. And so while we make a fundraiser out of this rodeo, those 2 nights, the Saturday during the day, last year we had about 40 kids that attended with special needs that got to be cowboys and cowgirls for the day, and it was phenomenal. And so, and our students lead that. And so it's really a neat thing to see. We do that from 10 to 12 on Saturday. So again, I encourage you to come out and enjoy that as well. And again, thank you for the time. I appreciate it very much.
Like you said, for you. Yeah.
Just for the record, we have a motion by Mr. Nakam to allow the rental of the stalls to be per use and tracked by Ms. Phelps.
Next
For-
Saturday, right?
For the
Say
second
Saturday?
night, for
Yes.
Saturday,
Yeah.
for the FFA rodeo. Second by Mr. Diaz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval to appoint Ms. Daphne Landry on the South Central Planning Human Services Authority Board. We have been trying to.
Yeah, we've been trying to fill it out.
Looks like she's a good candidate.
She has a resume.
That's all. We got.
You got it.
Make a move.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Alcorn,
Yeah.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval to reappoint Ms. Kim Torres to the Board of the Louisiana Local Government Environmental Facilities and Community Development Authority for a 2-year term.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Nakam, second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discuss storm debris pickup.
Oh, yeah, my main concern for putting it on there, I had the question answered by Mr. Bro, today. We were finally able to figure it out, but, just an update on it. I mean, we're making good headway. We're kind of just south of Napoleonville now with a few things. We were leaving some more, larger piles on Highway 1 for some safety concerns until we can get some more people to help flag traffic while we pick it up, due to, a manpower issue, but, it's going good. We're moving forward. My only question about it was, I know we had to meet with the state the other day. The trees that they removed on the state roads that they left off of the blacktop, just in the swell on the side of the road, are we picking up that stuff too?
If it impedes drainage, but I would think, but other than
In
that.
wood area? No.
So, I mean,
A lot of it's
there's,
not even cut.
That's
Yeah, I
correct.
mean, yeah.
oh, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm asking, because there's some of them that aren't cut. They were just removed, from the edge of the blacktop. Now, I mean, for safety reasons, we can take some that are closer to the blacktop farther away from the paved road. But again, that was my
I say
question.
you use your own judgment.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it was,
If it impedes
Yeah, use your
the
own
drainage or poses a hazard to the motorist, then I'd say address it. And we'll still log that time just like we are with the other time. So I'll entertain a motion that we enter into the memorandum of understanding with DOTD for access to the right of ways for this effort that we're putting in.
That's what you.
Yeah, it's on the.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's already.
Yeah, it's already there.
I'm sorry.
It's already there.
We'll get it then.
Yeah.
Any other issues with storm debris pickup?
So where you at? I know 308, you didn't get yet.
308, there's some stuff by, C&D Power by, I don't know the block number, just north of Parker's Apartments. Then we left off here.
308,
Come on, Lanier, it's still at, power still at.
by your mill, by your
Yeah.
field.
Yeah,
So
still
Down
at.
field, and you ain't got much to, okay.
No, to be honest with you, it was more than I expected. And I'm doing my due diligence to make sure that it is from storms, but checking dryness and growth in it to make sure it's been there. I'm documenting stuff that is waste disposal responsibility and noting it too, that once I finish just making an assessment, I'm putting it all in the documents and I'll be able to send it to y'all for y'all to look at. And then you could just cross that with them, because I know some of them, they're not picking them up because they probably said it is storm debris, but it's not. It's not, it's something
Have
that.
you identifying them, brother?
Yeah,
You
he's making the
identifying them?
list, he's making the
Make
list.
the list.
And make the list, send us a copy also, because I'm seeing stuff out there that, just haven't been picked up at all.
Yeah, also, I'm documenting a list of, we all know where our local dump places are, of something that I was gonna come address with y'all at a later date about, and it probably a solid waste problem that some of them are kind of crowding bus turnarounds, so we're gonna have to take care of those eventually, but not storm related.
Simple.
Alright. Next item, discuss office space for Division F judge and staff. So last week, I had, parish manager, maintenance supervisor. We met with the sheriff, the clerk of court, and the new judge and one of the existing judges to determine the location of the office. You may or may not know, but Tony Falterman Menard that was elected, would like her office to be in Assumption Parish near the courthouse facility, right? So we're looking at the options. The existing Capital One bank building is being leased to the clerk of court for storage. There's some issues that are presented there because right now the elevator is excluded from the lease agreement. And she would like access to the elevator for ADA compliance to allow for any clients that may need to see her that are ADA, need accessibility issues, that they have access to the elevator. I'm not sure if Capital One will move on that or not. We're gonna have to follow up with them.
I don't know if that elevator is ADA compliant. It's really little. Have you seen it?
Yes.
It's antique.
It's little.
I think
I don't know
that's-
if you can fit a
understand.
wheelchair in there, yes.
Same
No, I think it
office,
could.
Jesse and
I
James.
think it could fit.
I think it could fit a wheelchair. It's just,
It would need to be inspected, and I think that's probably why they didn't have it in the lease
Exactly.
agreement, because they didn't have an up-to-date inspection on it to certify that it's safe for use.
Yeah, or just yearly maintained.
So that's one option that we looked at. Then we also went and looked at, the old Napoleonville Bank building. That was the office of, Mr. Barbier that passed away.
Yeah.
There's some, that was bought by, a resident of the parish with the intent to lease it out. So we went, toured the place, discussed it with him. He came back with a potential lease price for it. And I guess that's where our issue comes in, right? Because it's,
How about the building up the Barris parking lot?
we don't own that.
Where will we put it?
So, I guess the first thing that we can work two paths on this. If we do the Capital One Bank building, right now that's set up for storage. The parish is gonna have to incur some remodeling type costs to get it to be office space, if they allow us to use the elevator.
There was previous office space.
It
right?
was office space before.
Now
The
it has
judge was
nothing
there
but
before.
shelving.
Yeah.
Right, so now there's no like carpet, it's basically storage space now. So I'd imagine that we would have to do those improvements that Capital One, although we can ask them to, I doubt that they would make the improvements to be able to lease it as office space. The Martins who own the old bank building, they have, expressed interest. They're asking for 1,500 per month lease, and they would, refurbish the building to be office space, as part of the lease agreement on their end. It would basically be move-in ready whenever the parish would be ready to occupy it.
What's the rental at Capital One?
So right now, Kim, you want to?
Yeah, we pay, $900 somewhat dollars a month, but the clerk's office reimburses us $450, I believe.
I think it was half.
So it's significant.
She's still building her shed?
Yeah, so she's expecting to be
Pretty much,
be
she
done.
just texted me and said I can send a cancellation notice, 90-day notice. Obviously pending this conversation. though.
Okay.
Right, well,
She's ready to vacate and save her $450.
right. So, now they will house the new judge temporarily at Ascension Parish. They're making temporary accommodations there to have her a place to work January 1st. Because we know we won't be ready January 1st to house her, here. But, we just need some way to move forward, regarding this. If anybody has any other options, we'll consider it. I guess in the long-term plan, we're still looking at building a multi-use facility that would house the 911 center and OEP and possibly the permitting office. So that would vacate the second floor of what was the old jail. So that would provide additional floor space that could be used and remodeled for the judge's use. But that's long-term, so.
Yeah, that's years.
Right, so, I guess because of that, it may be possible that we look at, the commercial building here and, that'll be fully furnished for us to use. But it comes at a cost. And we
Mike, do
gotta
you know if
identify-
there's a statute or something that determines, reasonable,
Cost.
cost per month?
It would be basically a marketing analysis, a market analysis, say, is that fair and equitable based upon the surroundings? But I mean, I don't, based upon what we're paying for Capital One, I think that's in range, especially if it's gonna be furnished and equipped for that purpose. We would have to follow through on that.
Right, so, we don't necessarily have to take action tonight. I just wanted to update everybody on that. And, but I do think within the first or second meeting in December, we're gonna have to make a decision. Because the Martins will need to know to start. There's several windows that they have to change and flooring and ceiling
How
tiles to
long is
repair.
how long they're willing to enter in a lease agreement? Is it, if they're gonna go ahead and have it office ready, then that lease agreement is gonna go to at least anywhere from 3 to 5 years.
What's her term? You know,
It would
Or
be
six.
Six.
Oh,
Six.
Six, yes, it's six.
So, again, on our side, if we get an OEP building done and can get out of that space, I don't want to lock ourselves into a
What I'm
long term.
saying,
also. So
Suppose all
it's-
that come
Before-
to pass.
But we can negotiate.
Before-
I can tell you from meeting with them, they were very accommodating and that wasn't their original intent for use of the building, but once presented with it, they reviewed it and they think that it would be a good use. You know, for them, they were trying to turn it more into a residential.
Would they negotiate?
It's possible. I'm just, the judge called me and told me what conversation she had with them.
I say, now I'll make a motion that give you permission to negotiate with the Martins, to report back to the next meeting.
And also, I guess,
Capital
conduct a
one.
market analysis to make sure that
Yes.
that rate is
Fair and
sufficient.
That, then you gotta worry about refurbishing an elevator, anything, I mean,
That's
round
right there.
level, you're good to go, so.
Well, this Tuesday, I have a meeting with the judge and her clerk and Brian tentatively for next Tuesday to go through the list they created for the possible renovations, security reasons, all of those things. So if that does come through, I'll have something to get with you on as far as seeing what work.
Right, and what he was talking about was getting an estimate for the renovations of the Capital One building, if we had to do those, so we know how much that would cost us.
Yeah,
I think that's gonna be thousands and thousands of dollars. It just doesn't make sense to put that in somebody else's
No,
building.
I prefer to have the building right
Yeah.
here. But
I mean, if that happens on that multi-use complex, we're gonna have a lot of open space.
A lot of
Because it's
room.
gonna be multi-agencies
Yeah.
moving there, so we're gonna have some office space
All right, so
there.
we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Nakam
Second.
that we
Allow you. to-
we obtained a market study to determine if the rate is fair and equitable and negotiate with the landowner, landlord to see if we can get us a good rate and also discuss the terms. Second by Mr. Bro.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, request approval to president to sign MOU with LADOTD for debris removal and state right of way.
So,
Motion by Mr. Alcorn, second by Mr. Nakam. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval for first phase of derelict structure located at 151 Highway 1003 Bell Rose, Ward 6.
The last tab in the packet.
It's tabbed as 16.
Well, we
Yes.
amended
Because
the
it's-
agenda.
Yeah.
No power connected to it, correct?
About
Signed form by the complainant and all that.
Motion by Mr. Mathern. Your second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bro. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Any other items? Motion adjourned by Mr. Diaz,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.